Have you ever wondered what was out there in the night sky? Stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you ever heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there's life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu, or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? What if tomorrow you were on the fringe? Welcome to On the Fringe. I'm Philip.
I'm Mark.
Man, tonight we've got a fun episode. It was kind of a short term. Mark and I are discussing.
Pardon me.
Monday?
Yeah.
Was it like Monday or something like that? I'm like, man, what are we going to talk about Wednesday? Because we had our carryover show about the prophecy thing, and Monday we're like, oh crap, we got to come up with a show for Wednesday. We kind of got to cussing and discussing and came up with tonight's episode. But we're going to add something new to it. I think, let us know what you guys think. But we're going to kind of add something new. We're discussing maybe once a month, maybe every show. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But we also, on this show, I think we want to cover some paranormal news. The problem is, hint, hint, Pam and Jess, if you're watching or listening, we're having a hard time finding recent paranormal news. So I think there's a gap that needs to be filled in there.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be a good idea, maybe fill that gap somewhere, somehow. But would love to hear the stories. I mean, it's getting to be that time of year. I've got to put it up on Facebook yet, but we want to do a special Halloween episode. I don't know if we'll do it live. I mean, we may do it live. I don't know. Kind of sort the details out here later, but I want to hear your stories. Whether you're listening from far away, whether you're listening from local, we want to hear your stories. Even if we've heard them before, I love hearing the stories. I am not the best storyteller, but I can read. and Mark, I haven't ran this by you yet, but I thought about doing like a group show. Maybe bringing in Willie and maybe Ben and Joe.
Let's just make Willie read everything.
I know, yeah. Willie's, yeah, he needs to go into voice acting.
I'm jealous. I mean,
yeah, he's got the voice. But I'm thinking about maybe inviting everybody on to do like one special, like Halloween episode, share stories, share listener stories or viewer stories. I really kind of want to do that. Before we get into it, though, first things first, check us out at our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com. You'll find our episodes. You'll find our affiliates. We have Duke Cannon. We have My Patriot Supply, EMP Shield, and Conflicted the Game. Take your pick. Help support the show. And also we have merchandise over there. And matter of fact, I'm hoping maybe by the end of this week, I'm designing a whole bunch of different logos. I say a whole bunch, probably 4 or 5. I'm going to throw up on the Facebook group. So if you're listening and you're not a member of the Facebook group, go over and join it. But I'm going to throw them up on the Facebook group, have you guys vote on them. And whichever one gets the most votes, we're going to make it our new logo for the new show, for On the Fringe. What am I missing, Mark? If I'm missing something? I don't think I am. Well, if you want to reach out to us, by all means, share your stories and all that. Email them to us, whatiftomorrowpc@gmail.com, or direct messages myself on Facebook or Messenger, something like that. But we'd love to hear your stories and we'd love to share them. Anyway, with tonight's first story, Mark and I were kind of doing some quick research in like the last 10 minutes before the show started. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Did some real quick searches, but found a couple cool looking articles. And I'll share it when I pull it up. Hey, there's no sound on this, so I don't have to AdSense. Well, there might be. There's a video.
Oh
crap.
Oh no.
I'm not going to worry about the audio though. The vampire skeleton found pinned to the ground with sickle around neck. I want to say I've read this last week or something like that. Yeah, I was in the graveyard of the Polish village of Pien, I guess. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But
How come they only find this stuff in Poland?
Right. Or Eastern Europe. I mean,
yeah,
that's
Eastern
kind of
Europe.
weird.
Yeah.
You know, Dracula, I mean, but she was the skeleton of a woman buried with a thin metal sickle around her neck, possibly to stop her from returning from the dead, has been found. The research team from the Archaeological Institute of Nicholas Copernicus University expedition, led by Professor Darius, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, not really, but Polinsky, discovered the skeleton in a 17th century graveyard in the Polish village of Pien. An iron sickle was placed around a woman's neck, and there was a padlock around her big toe. Why the hell around her big toe?
I don't know. Maybe that's the only place it would fit.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it was a fashion statement.
That could have been kind of like the ear gauges now.
She put it on her own toe and lost the key and died from gangrene.
According to Polinsky, the strange burial was performed because the villagers may have thought the woman was undead. Well, what if she was undead?
Yeah.
It says the sickle was not laid flat, but placed on the neck in such a way that if the deceased had tried to get up, most likely the head would have been cut off or injured. Polinsky told the Mail Online. The padlocked toe also possibly symbolized the closing of a stage and the impossibility of returning. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
It was symbolic. I mean, I don't know, maybe she it might slow her down. It might be aggravating. You know, you try to kick something off like a cat when you put tape on the.
You can hear her coming down the.
Right.
Here you go. Yeah. She's coming down the hall. Oh shit! She got up.
or if it's like when you put tape on a cat's paw.
Oh, I love that. It's so fun. If anybody ever needs to keep your cat off the microwave, just take little squares of duct tape and put them upside down on any surface you don't want them on. It's hilarious and does not hurt the cat.
Right.
And it works. They won't get back up there.
It says vampires and other supernatural creatures have plagued the imagination of people across Europe for centuries. According to the Scientific American, certain diseases resulting in extreme psychological and behavioral sciences like schizophrenia, rabies, and tuberculosis sparked fears of other villagers that the sick person may be dangerous, and when they died may return. When they were buried, they were often restrained or damaged in some way to prevent them from rising from the grave. Ways to protect against the return of the dead, including cutting off head or legs, placing the deceased face down to bite the ground, burning them, and smashing them with a stone.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's better than what they did in the early Americas. The cure for vampirism was to kill the source of the vampirism, cremate them, and eat their ash.
Yep. Man, you see that? That's a hell of a padlock on her foot.
You definitely hear that coming down the hall.
I'm telling you. I mean, hope she didn't come inside. She'd wake up everybody.
No shit.
Anyway, we'll move on. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole article, but these are both from Newsweek, surprisingly. I didn't even know Newsweek was still around.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, this one really strikes me here. This is from August 23rd of last month. Said a worker at the real life conjuring house shared what her average morning is like after she spends the night at the infamous haunted house. Wasn't Ed and Lorraine Warren part of that at one point in time?
An expert on that. No, I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to say they were, though.
Yeah, I think they were involved with that.
Let's read on. We might find out.
Yeah, we might.
Said most people get that dreaded feeling the night before work, but for Madison Heinzen, the feeling is likely at the extreme. Heinzen works at the real life home that inspired the Conjuring movies, and her family used to own the place. Now she still works there as part of the house's operations, staying on the property for 1 week per month, during which she helps run tours and events for visitors. It said the home gained fame in the 70s when the Perron family moved in and consequently claimed to suffer intense paranormal activity that later acted as the inspiration for a book series written by one of the family's children. Despite taking the form of a normal day in the life video with uplifting instrumental music, Heinzen's day at work is far from normal. Yeah. She wakes up after sleeping alone in the house and explained that the first thing she does is check the security cameras before making her way through the house. A Ouija board can be seen decorating the living room above the bed. Heinzen says she greets the entire house every morning, likely praying she doesn't get greeted back by any voices. She said, I don't know why. It's something I've always done, she said. Heinzen then goes on to clean the entire house, replacing bed sheets and mopping the floors for the visitors ahead. The beds and rooms they belong to look straight from the movies, even featuring old bears and dolls on each bed.
Yeah, now the dolls are creepy.
Yeah. A quick inventory check of the house's merchandise takes place before awaiting the arrival of visitors wanting a tour of the infamous home. Heinzen and her family, who have owned the house or owned the home since July or June of 2019, but put it back on the market last year for $1.2 million. Her father worked as a paranormal investigator for over a decade, and Heinzen has been on hand to help since the age of 13. My family has always been interested in the paranormal, and my dad has been a quote-unquote ghost hunter, or as we like to say, paranormal investigator, for over 10 years. I started joining him on investigations as young as 13 years old. When we saw the house for sale a few years ago, my parents took the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to allow enthusiasts and paranormal investigators to visit the infamous home, she told Newsweek. Okay. I don't know. That'd be creepy. I mean, everybody that listens regularly has heard my story. I grew up in a haunted house. Wasn't anything bad, but this is crazy. The stuff that happened in this house, if you know the story.
Yeah. What kind of person puts a Ouija board on the wall? That's just asking for trouble.
You're asking for it. Absolutely, you are.
My paranormal group will, if we know that there's a Ouija board involved, we usually won't even go.
Right. I mean, who knows what you're opening yourself up to?
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
Creepy. Really, really creepy.
It damn sure is. Anyway, that's enough of that for now. My mom, she collects dolls, and she said, "Oh my goodness, that's what grandkids say when your dolls are creepy. Now they're packed up." Yep. What are you drinking tonight, Mark?
I am drinking Boulevard Brewing Company Whiskey Barrel Stout, barrel aged Imperial Stout.
Pretty good.
It is actually really good. It's got a sweet aftertone to it.
Yeah. I'm drinking some Evan Williams honey. It's been one of those days.
I understand.
I know you do. You were there.
I was there. It was one of those days.
Yep. Anyway, on with the show. I mean, we're talking about decoding. You know, I mean, it's one of the biggest advantages to any military operations, being able to decode the enemy's communications. It happened in World War II, you know, with the Enigma machine with the Germans. Rome had their own way of special coding, even though now it's more simplistic compared to what we have now. But the one item that I know of in the research that I've done that has not been decoded in what,
600 years
is the Voynich Manuscript. I know a couple years ago, George Johnson, I believe, recommended it to us, and it's been a while, but we finally got to it.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of weird. I mean, the more stuff, I haven't looked into it a ton. I knew what it was, and I kind of looked into it a little bit, but nothing really caught, And since we decided to do this, I was like, well, I better do some fast research so I have at least an inkling of to know a little bit of what I'm talking about.
I've looked into it on and off for several years. I've always found it interesting. And I have some kind of wild, off the wall ideas, which we'll share later, but it's a strange book.
Yes.
And it's been carbon dated to the early 1500s, so 1400s.
Yeah, I thought it was 1420s roughly. I think I heard something like 1406 to 1436 or 38 or something like that.
Yeah, it's
so they're saying
pretty old.
Yeah. Sarah put on there, real men drink Mike's Hard Lemonade.
I have drank that on the show before, so yeah.
Oh, I got to share this story since we're talking about Mike's Hard Lemonade. So when my 18-year-old now was little, he was around 2-ish. Okay. We had a party at my house. My older boys, they were little guys, this and that, everything went good. He had the solo cups and all that, and people were drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade and whatever else. And well, the next morning, not thinking anything of it, my 18-year-old now comes in the living room from the kitchen. He's got a cup. And I was like, "What are you drinking?" He said, "I'm drinking Kool-Aid, Dad." Okay. Not thinking anything of it. And then it dawns on me, we don't have any Kool-Aid. Oh, crap. Travis, what are you doing?
I know. I miss that guy.
What's up, buddy?
That guy.
But, yeah, I figured I would relate it. Sarah said she's having one now.
Oh, yeah. You can bring me one. I'd drink it.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, back to the Voynich Manuscript. That's our first little dog leg. It is. I mean, it's 600 years old.
600 years old.
They have an idea of where. Thanks, buddy. But they have an idea as to where it came from, somewhere up in northern Italy. They're not sure. There was many theories on who wrote it, but when they carbon dated it, it kind of threw those theories out the window. At one point in time, they thought it may have been a young Leonardo da Vinci. But with the time, the carbon dating, that kind of put that out of reach. Do you remember? I forget the name. But there was a let me look real quick. Sorry, y'all. I'm the world's worst at names. But he was an I can't say the word.
Apothecary.
Yeah, apothecary or herbalist, whatever you want to call it. Basically the same thing. That he conned the king. I want to say he conned. It was. I know it's in here somewhere.
The emperor of the Holy Roman Empire.
Yes. Who soon became the king of Italy, right?
I think so.
I don't remember his name either. But he conned him saying he could transmute normal everyday things into gold. So it's kind of the side story, but it's still related. They locked this guy, and they cut an ear off, from what I understand. I cannot remember his name, and I apologize for that. But they cut his ear off, because he was a fraudster. He was a scam artist. So he left. He always wore like wigs and stuff covering up the missing ear. And so he went to the king and told him he could do this, So the king locked him in a room with all the stuff that he said he would need. And he had people watching him. And, while he's trying to transmute, I can't remember what they said it was, if they said anything, but it was transmuting this stuff into gold. Well, little did they know he smuggled in a gold nugget. So that basically set him up for life because he became the king's apothecary or
Alchemist.
whatever. Alchemist. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And he became known as like one of the king's brewer and all that, right? If that's the guy I'm thinking of, it's the same guy.
I don't remember that story. I didn't see it, but
yeah, I think he became like the king's head fermenter or brewer. He brewed the best drinks, I guess you could say. Because he would take herbs and mix them and diffuse them with alcohol, or infuse, I should say, not defuse, but infuse them with alcohol, and would give them to the king to drink. So the king promoted him up to that position. So really at that point, after that, he's all but untouchable, because he's basically the king's right-hand man, especially if he's a lush, so.
Right.
Anyway, it bounced around, traded hands. I seen a graph somewhere on the number of people that have held this. Well,
it was missing for a long time.
Yeah, they thought that it was given to a 17th century alchemist. He was from Prague, and he was apparently able to decode Egyptian hieroglyphs. And come to find out, that was a fraud because he couldn't do that. He didn't know how. He didn't know what the hieroglyphic language, and so he couldn't really. He said he decoded it, but again, he was proven wrong because there was no way to decode it. They tried different decoding styles and stuff of the era. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When this was made, when they carbon dated it, they also said that the color pigment, the drawing style, and the ink was all of that era. That's the type of style they would use during that era.
Yeah, it's consistent.
Right. And it's lasted through hundreds of years with little to no fading. And I know they said, I think I read somewhere they said that there are some spots that have been touched up, and they could tell that. But it came to, I'm not helping here. I know that.
That's all right. It's been in a lot of hands.
It absolutely has. Was it Dr. Raphael? That's the guy I was thinking of. Dr. Raphael Sobeher. That's a big Russian name. I couldn't tell you. Minchovsky, I guess.
I don't know. Anybody who's anybody has tried to decode it over the years.
Right. But see, it went unknown for about 25 years. Nobody knows who had it. And that was from King Rudolph II. Then it went to a Jacobus de Tepinzik, something like, I can't remember. I can't pronounce the name very well. Then it went unknown. Nobody knows who had it between then. Nobody knew who had it before Rudolph II. Then it went to a Jan Marek Marseille. I'm butchering these names, but Athanasius Kircher. and then a Collegio Romano, and that went from probably, I'm looking at the timeline, probably went from about 1680, and I'm guessing it stayed in his line because it runs all the way till about, I'm guessing 18, I don't know, 60, 1870, somewhere in there. And all of these guys thought they could decode it, and they never did. And then it went from, it kind of, I guess it went to the Jesuit temple.
It's been everywhere.
Where a book collector, Wilfrid Voynich, found it. He went over there. He was from
Poland.
Yeah, he's from New York. Yeah, he was a Polish, but he was from New York, went over to Italy or whatever, and found this at this monastery. So the monks, not knowing what they had, probably looking for a little bit extra money because apparently they wanted to go home, they sold the book to Voynich. And that's what the book's name is. The book is named after, or who I should say. And the story goes on from there because it stayed in his family
for a long time.
For a long time. And I lost my timeline here. Let's see. Here we go. Where'd it go? Oh, come on, mouse. Work. Oh, here we go. But it went from Wilfrid Voynich to Ethel Voynich. I don't remember if that's his wife or his daughter. Then to an Annie Hill, then to a Hans P. Krauss, and then to the Yale Library where it sits today. The book itself has illustrations. It has, obviously, what it's basically known for is this writing that nobody can decipher. They've determined that there's around 25 different letters, and you can see, like Mark and I were talking backstage, you can see the patterns, you can see repetitive words, things like that in it.
It doesn't look pieced together like a fraud would.
Right.
It looks like somebody's handwriting. Somebody's very good, very beautiful handwriting.
Right.
I'm actually a little jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris said the Flowers Illustrator are beautiful. They are. There is some speculation that somehow, some way, whoever created this book, and apparently to create this book at that time, it would have been extremely expensive to write this book.
Yes.
Because of the calfskin parchment.
It was high quality stuff.
Right. And it's got like a big fold out, and they said that would have been cut from the middle of the leather, and they said that would have been hugely expensive. But there's 6 different categories from what they can determine. There's herbal, the pages show all, like Chris said, the flowers and the plants. Then there's an astronomical, and it's got, circular diagrams of astronomy and astrology. They've got several different constellations that we see in our night sky. Although there are some that are different, but 600 years ago, I'm sure things have shifted a lot, so.
Right.
And I'm going to have a hard time with this word, but it's balneological. It's a dense, continuous text interspersed with drawings, mostly showing small nude women, some wearing crowns, some bathing in pools or tubs connected by an elaborate network of pipes. The bifolio consists of folios 78 and 81. It forms the integrated design with water flowing from one folio to the other. So essentially, it's got naked women in pools, and the water apparently flows from page to page. So, But you have the baniological or balneological, then you have the cosmological, then you have the pharmaceutical, and then apparently there's recipes. They're assuming because they're little short or full pages of text broken into many short paragraphs, each marked with a star in the left margin. It says 5 folios. I'm guessing the folios are talking about our pages. So, I mean, that's not what I'm used to calling it, but and at least 28 folios are missing from the manuscript. So the herbal, and I guess it'd be also the pharmaceutical, because at the time that's where they got their medicine, was from herbs and plants and all that. All these people, they thought, like I said, wrote this book. Everybody they claim wrote this book. The carbon dating proved it wrong. And then they thought Voynich himself actually wrote it because I saw the name here a minute ago.
Carbon dating shot that down.
Yes, absolutely they did. Because they thought he was trying to get a lot of money because of this author's lost book. I don't know where it went now. There we go. I'm all messed up on here. Baresh, I think, or Bacon. No, I think it was Bacon. He was a famous author of the time, Roger Bacon.
Yeah, a lot of people attribute it to Roger Bacon.
Right. And at the time, they thought Voynich himself wrote the book or created this book and gave attribution to Roger Bacon, because apparently if they were able to find this lost book from this famous author, it'd be worth tons of money. But the carbon dating, like Mark said, proved that wrong.
It could have been by Roger Bacon. We don't know.
Right. But the drawings in there to where the plants, I mean, they don't look like we would think a drawing of plants were. But at the time, like I said earlier, that is the artistic style they used for diagrams, things like that. But there are other little added things to these plants that look like it's almost down to the cellular level, as if they were using a high-powered microscope. So there's tons of theories on that as well. But the Dr. Raphael, he was also big into using, I think it was Dr. Raphael, he was also big into exploring things like making microscopic lenses, stuff like that, I guess I should say. Or magnifying glasses, all that. But they were using water inside a glass to magnify things with. Chris or Sarah said, "Get in, losers. We're getting Voynich transcript tattoos."
Why not? I mean, at least people won't laugh and say you called yourself something stupid in Chinese.
Right.
I mean, that's
crazy.
They
can't read it. So.
Yeah. Nobody can translate it, so you're safe.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that's what I kind of found fascinating was in some of these drawings, it was they're thinking it's at a microscopic level, so it shows the cellular walls and how they're built up to make this plant. That being the case, where did they get the technology in the 1420 to do that when it wasn't even invented yet, to get that specific, to get that far down to be able to see the cellular walls? Because I've never used a magnifying glass that could get to that level.
Oh no. Here's something interesting. A lot of pictures, they can't identify what species they are.
Right.
So where did they come from?
Right. So, I mean, are they an extinct species? Are they something else?
Right. I mean, it's crazy, but you go through the pictures, somebody put a lot of time and effort into it. That's not just, I whipped this out in a couple afternoons so I can try to sell it to somebody as something. This
Right.
is the same person writing. They've got beautiful handwriting. It's consistent. Doesn't look It doesn't look made up. When I look at it, I think I ought to be able to read it.
Right. Right. There's something there, and that's what I was thinking about when you and I were talking backstage, was when you look at it, you should be able to read it. I mean, you feel like there's something there. I mean, I don't know if it's just a mystery of it or what, but it's like, man, there's something there. There's something important. And maybe that's the hoax.
It
Because a
draws
lot of,
me in. I mean,
right. I mean, I don't know if anybody has, I mean, I know some of you guys listening or whatever are familiar with it.
it feels
But
real when you look at it.
it does. It does. I mean, I'll share this real quick. See if I can zoom in. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it looks like, man, it just looks like a really fancy form of cursive. And then you look closer and you're like, I can't read what it says.
And it's really well executed. Yeah, it looks like something I ought to be able to read.
Right. So who knows, man? I don't know.
It is. It's strange. And my research, as I was looking through every single cryptology program in the world, one of the first things they do when they get a new decryptor is try to decrypt this.
Right, because they want to be that person.
And actually, people's theories trying to decrypt this has actually created encryption methods that are being used today.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the number of people that have claimed they've decrypted it, then the scientific community or whatever says, no, that's not right. It doesn't fit this narrative or fit this style of writing. Like we were talking before, a lot of people believe that a huge contributor to the writing is actually Hebrew. The symbols and the signs and all that. They think it's Hebrew, but there's also holes in that argument as well. And then that, what the heck, the guy the scam artist, right? He was trying to decode it, and I found it kind of comical because he was supposedly translating or one of the theories is that when he was writing the book, because there's a hypothesis that he was a writer of the book, he claimed to be channeling angels and speaking their language and having somebody else write it. So if somebody else is writing it, how do they know the angel's language?
Exactly.
I mean, that's already a hole in the story, but that's beside the point. I just find it kind of comical that this guy was a scam artist all the way around, and he worked himself up to be the king's right-hand man,
Yeah.
But also, they're talking about all the naked women and things like that, and they think maybe some of the bath has something to do with like healing water or like a fountain of youth or something like that.
Well, that kind of makes sense in a way, and it may be that even you've heard my wild theory, and it may that even ties in. Herbal baths for a long time, even back that far, have been considered to have healing properties.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, we put stuff in our water because it's supposed to make us feel better.
Epsom salts with
Epsom salts,
oils
herbs,
and stuff like that.
Essential oils, all that stuff. And we've proven that a lot of these things do have healing properties. So that makes sense. And even though I've got a wild theory that I'm going to throw out here in a little bit, it still could be that. I just have a different origin in mind. And this is where it gets
Right.
fringy, is because uh, one of the most popular uh, ideas is that it was written by somebody stranded on Earth from another planet.
Right.
I mean, that explains
Can't
why
say it's impossible.
that's why there's constellations that nobody's ever
Right.
seen. That's why the constellations are all subtly off from what they should be at that time period. I mean, it's fair enough.
Right.
We don't know. And it's weird enough that I feel like we've got to give it a little bit of, FaceTime. It's
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we've said a million times on this show, I can't say no. It's absolutely 100% not the case.
I ain't throwing it out.
It's aliens. I mean, I say it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Speaking of it's aliens, the whole Ancient Aliens crew is going to be in Tulsa on tour in Tulsa on what was it, January 20th or something like that. Yeah, we looked up tickets because Mark and I were thinking about going. We're like, man, it'd be fun. Go kind of hang out, maybe.
No.
Yeah, it's not worth $300.
No, we're not doing it. Not doing it. I would love to. I would love to. I was thinking $50-$60. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it'd be worth it. That and the drive to Tulsa, hang out, listen to some cool stories and theories, and take a chance, maybe get to meet one of them, invite them on the show. That's kind of where I was going with it. But yeah, it's not worth $300.
No.
So
not unless they trot an alien out there and let me shake his hand.
Right. He can come on the show. I don't care.
He can come on the show. Yeah. Any aliens or cryptids out there that listen to the show, hey, get a hold of us. We'll get you
Absolutely.
on. We want to tell your story.
Yeah, I do. I would love that, dude. That would be so awesome. Like Bigfoot, I mean,
even if you think you might be a cryptid or an alien, we'll have you on the show. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm willing. Yes.
I am excited about November. The UFO Garage guys are having a get together down in Texas, and I'm excited because Eric Mitchell is going to be there, and they're making they've made a film about him. And if you don't know his story, I sincerely can't do it justice, but he is an abductee who is able to control sound waves and things like that with his mind. And in this video, the little bit of I've seen, he proves it. He can change audio levels and stuff like that, or frequencies. It's pretty impressive. So I'm excited. We're going to go down there and check it out and hang out with the guys. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll have a lot to bring back from that, because I think it's going to be a cool thing. So I can't say it's not aliens.
No, I can't.
Could it? Now let's look. I mean, could it be a remnant of angels or something like that wrote it? I mean, I can't deny that either.
Can't deny that either. And my personal theory is that it's possibly something that's slipped through from another reality. So that's why everything looks like it belongs here but doesn't.
Yeah.
It's European style, Northern Italy. From that time period. Okay, I buy that. What if it's not our Northern Italy? I mean,
right.
We've seen strange things before, and that just plays into my own personal pet theories.
Well, and again, I mean, I don't discount anything. I mean, I definitely think it's a possibility. But in all honesty, I think it's as much a possibility as this whole thing is a hoax, as it's just a bunch
Yeah,
of
I mean,
gibberish. Or
yeah,
I think I honestly lean. I mean, it's cool to entertain the thoughts like that, but I honestly think it was written in code. But whoever wrote it was the only person that had the key to it.
or it
But
could
then
be like one
again,
of these twin languages where they've all got their own language because it's not, when you're encoding something, it's not that fluid,
right,
and you can tell that this was written by somebody. They were going right on along. This was not, okay, let's look this up. How did I? Okay, we're gonna do that, and
right,
okay, this. It
yeah,
just
you can
feels
definitely,
natural.
yeah, it definitely looks well practiced,
Yes,
definitely. Um,
and if it's well practiced, one would assume that there would be other works
you would think.
in the same language.
And who says there's not? But it's just not out in the open like this is. Maybe
Mhm.
it's a secret society or something like that. I mean, we're now in the fringe area, so
Now, did you see that deal the other day where they found a text that was encoded, and it turned out to be uh, a ritual from the Masons written out
no,
in a
I
code?
didn't see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I guess it was really difficult to encode. Once they figured out it was in German, it went pretty fast. But uh, yeah, so there's stuff like that out there.
Or maybe it's a medieval version of Pig Latin. I mean, I don't know.
There's a theory out there that it's Latin shorthand in Latin.
Right? But I
I
think that's
mean,
been debunked, I think. But
yes, it was. About everything has been debunked,
right.
except the really crazy ones.
Right.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Every time somebody comes up with a theory, it gets shot down in flames. It's like
Right.
almost like they don't want it decoded.
See, I've thought about that as well. Because if you look at the Graham Hancocks and guys like that bring up, ideas that are on the fringe of science, they're automatically excoriated because they don't want to break away from tradition.
And it's always
They
been
don't
that way.
want to do real science.
Yeah. It's always been that way.
Right.
If you have a theory that's outside the norms, they're going to chew you up and spit you out unless you're so far outside the norms that they think that you're going to get yourself chewed up and spit out.
Right. And it's if you think about it, it's really no different because I mean it could have been coded, and I think is a possibility by an alchemist or something like that. Somebody that's in the sciences. But at that time in the world's history, during the medieval era, you had the Inquisitions going on, and the church was attacking people that thought outside the box and tried to explain science. They
Yeah,
were on the forefront of what we now call science, but it was called,
heresy.
heresy or witchcraft or something like that. And they were burned at the stake and whatnot. Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
cool theory.
What's that?
My wife, she posted maybe they have decoded it, but it shows that our history that is currently taught is wrong, so they're keeping it a secret.
Maybe
That's
that
a
our
cool theory.
science is
Could be absolutely.
wrong. But it just, I challenge anybody to look at the photos of the pages uh, and tell me that that was not somebody writing who was very, very used to writing
Yes.
those words. That is, to me, I see years of practice in those letters.
Yep.
I feel like I should be able to pick it up and read it out loud.
Yeah, and it could be. Because you remember, I mean, I'm sure you probably did as a kid too. You and your buddies always try to come up with this code.
Yeah.
You can, and what's to say that this didn't happen? I mean, maybe it was a group of apothecaries or something like that. They had to write this thing into code so they could keep from getting burned at the stake.
Right.
But they're trying to share this knowledge.
Drawings.
Right.
And they also thought back then that doing medical procedures or treatments during certain moon phases and certain astrological signs was more effective. So that also jibes.
But see, there's something else that goes right along with it. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures of the naked women, but one looks like ovaries.
Yeah.
A woman's ovaries.
It looks like the women's reproductive system. Yes.
I mean, it fits. It absolutely does fit.
So, yeah, it could have been a secret code between doctors that, after you've read this, you need to burn it so that the Inquisition doesn't come out and burn you at the stake.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Chris said teenage girls writing code all the time to best friends about crushes and enemies, or both at the same time.
Teenage girls just speak in code. Not gonna lie, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't even try. My wife said, "Y'all are looking at pictures of naked women." All right, you're forcing my hand.
Really, it's too much work. It's not worth the effort, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not really.
It looks like a grade schooler drew it.
Oh God, it does.
Maybe that's it. It's a bunch of junior high kids. Junie exercises there.
Yeah, Chris, in the name of research, absolutely, Chris. I mean, we got to research the show. So.
I bet I could find Pornhub. It probably has some stuff for us.
This is on Facebook and YouTube. I think we'd get kicked off.
Oh no, that's going to be hieroglyphs. It's art.
It's art form. Yeah,
it's right. Art.
My wife, she's laughing. Those are some sexy bitches.
They're bathing beauties. I don't really think they're all that beautiful, but kind of looks like
what would you do if you saw
berries.
What would you do if you saw somebody walking down the street that looked like that?
Wait a minute. I think I've actually met that girl. Yeah. The picture actually does her justice.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. It's getting deep in here.
Oh, that's all right. We haven't went off the rabbit hole in a long time. I mean, we had that conversation the other night that we're like, man, we haven't like really diverted real far from our topic in a long time. We're getting better about it.
We're getting better. We are getting better about it. We really are.
Yeah, but we're due. So
we are due. But we really do need a producer with like a fly swatter to swat us when we schwack.
Right.
Back on topic, fat boy.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's what's cool about this whole thing, though, is nobody knows. I mean, they have theories.
You can say whatever you want, and nobody can say.
No, I mean, my wife, she put that's what she looks like waking up after a night of drinking.
That's what I look like after a dry night of drinking.
If y'all are listening, you need to come check out the live show. That's where we share a lot of our videos or pictures and things like that. To really get the full effect. I mean, if you're curious, go look up the Voynich Manuscript. I'm sure it'll show the pictures and all that stuff. But
you can actually get tabletop copies of it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And really
kind of cool.
for what we do, I really don't think it would be that bad of a thing for us to have at least a paperback copy on hand, because
No.
I could look over these drawings and stuff for hours trying to wrap my head around them. Really could. They're just, it's unique, and
It is
that's
neat.
that is what draws you into it, is unique, and there's no explanation for it, and I just I can't wrap my head around it. When I look at that writing, I see somebody who's been writing like that for years, and it feels almost like English.
Right. My wife said, "And why did you want one, Mark?"
Well, it's not for the naked women. Ain't nothing to write home about there.
Not like the Sears catalog when you were a kid.
And no, not even close. At least those girls were cute.
Right.
Although those 70s clothes, I mean, they're bad. They're really. How did people eat? How? Why did you think that was? Why did we think that was attractive?
I was a kid. I was a little bitty at the end of the 70s. I mean, I was born late 70s. So I pretty much missed that whole era.
You didn't miss anything.
I'm sure.
No, you didn't. Not really.
No, that was Chris that said that. It wasn't my wife. I thought it was Chris. I thought it was my wife. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting topic.
It is.
You know, my mind is like running several different ways right now, and I kind of wonder. Is it an angel language? Is it an alien language? Is it from another dimension? That's a good theory. My wife's theory, of it being decoded, but it's showing a different history. Who knows?
I don't know. It's just, when you look at it, it's just, it looks it just looks natural.
It does.
I mean,
it absolutely does.
It looks like somebody's diary or field notes. That's actually what it reminds me of, is field notes.
Yeah.
Let me. I'm going to share a screen real quick.
Okay.
Here we go. Share. And let's see. Oh, I don't know what I just did there.
Good thing I'm not on acid.
Yeah. Anyway, if you look at this page over here at the side, it's it looks like somebody's field journal.
It does.
It really does. So
maybe I think it's truly a scientific book.
Somebody's attempt at it anyway.
Right. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, because there's so many different categories. Like the astronomical category. Is it, these herbs grow best at this time of year?
Yeah, I mean,
or
anything.
Right. Or the balneological, use these herbs in a bath to heal, or
this cures asthma.
Right. Or the recipes, obviously the recipes. And the first thing I thought when I saw that was, okay, they're telling you how to make a tincture or a potion or something like that.
Hell, it could be grandma's apple pie for all we know. You can't read it.
Right. But then you get into this, and I'll share it real quick. It's supposedly, got ahead of myself here. It's supposedly there we go, dragon.
I don't know. It could be.
I mean, I realized, at that time, in the early 1400s, you're really just coming out of medieval, the medieval era. You're in the Renaissance. And so dragons are a big part of the lore, especially in Europe. But if you think about it, dragons are a huge part of lore
everywhere
throughout the world.
Yeah.
Chris said it looks like a Dr. Seuss drawing.
It does, really.
It does.
It really does. Hey, is he breathing green fire or eating leaf?
Who knows? I mean, it just shows that one part of the picture. So I don't know if he's breathing fire or if it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a seahorse, really.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It's just what it struck me as.
Right. But, I mean, I'll put it up again.
Pause. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, it looks like a third grader drew it or something, I mean,
yeah.
Looks like it's standing on the side of a mountain or something.
For somebody
having a book in front of us.
For somebody with such beautiful handwriting, they were god awful artists.
Right, and you got to remember though, you're drawing and you're writing with a quill and ink.
That's true.
At that time, so to have drawing like that or writing like that is amazing.
Yeah. And let's see if I remember right. The flow of the text is smooth without any delay as expected from encoded text. So whoever wrote it was experienced in fluent writing system of the unknown language, and it doesn't contain any error or correction anywhere.
Right. If I was to try to write one page in ink,
I'd have so much stuff scribbled out.
I'd have so much crap scratched out. I mean, prime example, this morning I was trying to get our day together and I already scratched so much crap out by 6:30. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, I get it.
But I don't know. It's interesting. Definitely interesting.
35,000 words long.
35,000. So it's like 200 and some pages, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of pages too. Yeah, so I just don't know.
There was also hidden writing in there you could find in or using ultraviolet light. I can't remember the guy's name. Yeah. One of the guys that actually had it, obviously before Voynich, had his name written in like disappearing ink or whatever, but you could see it using a black light or, and whoever found it was like, I think it was Voynich that found it. And he was trying to soak it or something like that and trying to develop, I can't remember what he was doing with it, but like when you develop a film, in the red light and all that, it's when he first noticed it. So they started doing their research and that's where they think this one individual had it. And I can't remember the name. I'm sorry, y'all. I am terrible with remembering names.
Well, there's so much information out there about this.
Right. And there's so many people it's changed hands with. I mean, imagine 600-year-old book. I mean, how many people
have around?
How many people have touched it since it's been at Yale, researchers and things like that.
There's a reason why it's got missing pages.
Right. Maybe it was a key. Maybe one of the missing pages was a key to the whole book.
Yeah, like the Rosetta Stone. Yeah.
Right. My wife said he or she was writing with a purpose and it was slow and methodical. Absolutely it was.
Yeah, the handwriting is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
I won't lie. I'm jealous. It's actually more legible than my handwriting. I mean, you almost need a decoding text to read my handwriting. I was once told by a boss that I had the handwriting of a serial killer.
Well, your middle name's not Wayne, is it?
No, but I wanted to know what he knew about serial killers and how my handwriting matched. I mean, it's a fair question. How do you know?
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, it says there's about 240 pages.
Yeah. It's a big book. It took effort.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, I mean, it was expensive to write this book.
I'm 50,000 word plus words into my novel. I know how much work that takes when I know the language. If I'm doing it in code, I can't imagine how much work that is.
Right. And you're typing.
Yeah, I'm typing.
Yeah. It was handwritten.
So just the amount of effort that's gone into this when it was written and since is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And I hope that it is actually decoded for real sometime in my lifetime, because I want to know, even if it's just somebody's recipe for chicken soup, it must have been a really good recipe.
Right. See, I'm going to share this real quick. Share some more than naked women.
Hey, did I tell you about my OnlyFans?
No,
I'm
you
going to
didn't.
send everybody pictures of myself, and I'm going to tell them if they send me $20, I'll stop.
Hey, whatever works. But if you look, I mean, this kind of stands out to me. You know, this right in here,
Yes,
up in the top right corner, almost like a pine cone
it does. Or a pineapple.
or a pineapple. Yeah. But if
This
you
looks
look
almost
through
like
it,
a vascular diagram.
right? But if you look through it, a lot of the pools or the tubs or whatever it is start out blue. I mean, you can see the blue water right here coming down.
Green.
And it turns green, comes back out blue. So
Herbal bath?
maybe, I don't know. Chris has got the forehead slap.
That's her reaction to most of the things that comes out of my mouth. So, I mean, to be fair, it's warranted.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
But this, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm grasping at straws. And I want to look it up here in a second. But if you look at all the ancient hieroglyphs, you know, from like the Assyrians or Babylon, Egypt, they all symbolize a pine cone. A lot of people assume that it's in reference to your pineal gland or something like that. I kind of wonder if that's kind of a reference to that. I don't know that it would be because of, you know, just look at with the book on the different plants and things like that. But I wonder if there's an underlying meaning there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I would really like to go through all the pictures in the book just to kind of try to figure them out for myself. I know I never will, but
right. But another thing that we found in research, just like right at the last minute, was this was made about the same time as the Vinland map.
that's
and
true.
The Vinland map, if you're not familiar, is a map that is supposedly old enough, or it's so old that there was no seafaring civilizations to get this. But I'll share it. I mean, I find it interesting.
And it was a copy of something that they'd found.
Right. You know, because if you look, see if I can zoom in here. Oh, come on, load. Greenland, Iceland, Ethiopia, part of Africa, all that. I'm not seeing Antarctica.
It might not be the map you're looking for.
It may not be the map I'm looking for. I thought it was.
Maybe those pesky droids have it.
Could be. There's Italy,
Yeah.
Spain, England. I mean, you can see how far off it is.
Yeah.
Africa, obviously, Ethiopia.
Cut Africa off bad.
Yeah. But see, there's showing, I guess this would be probably what, Canada? If that's Greenland, that would be like Canada, northeastern Canada.
Maybe. Yeah.
The like Hudson Bay and all that.
Right.
Iceland, like Norway. Would that be
Japan? It looks like
Japan. I mean, there's Saudi Arabia, I guess India.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's all Greek to me, really.
Right. Going back and talking about the picture my wife just posted, we're talking about the blue and the green. He said maybe it's the heat, like the difference between oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Well,
It could be.
Your guess is as good as ours. I don't know.
For copper-based blood.
Or copper bait, yeah. Maybe he caught a bunch of
Octopods.
Octopus or octopi or squids or something like that. And maybe, I don't know. My wife, maybe it's a heart, maybe it's designed as a heart or something like that. Possibility. I don't know.
Could be. I don't know. I don't know. It just is. And nobody does. It's baffling. And that's why there's been so much interest in it throughout the lifetime of this manuscript.
Right.
What is it? What does it mean? We want to know. And I'm sure whoever wrote it did not ever in their wildest imagination imagine so much energy would be put into this thing.
Right.
Literally everybody who gets into the cryptology field takes a stab at it at some point in their career. They've tried it with AI. Every code breaker worth their salt has given it a shot.
Right.
It's just,
they have.
And they've come up with new ways to write codes because they've been studying this. So it's inspired a lot of things.
Right. Yeah.
And most people have never heard of it.
What's that? I'm sorry.
And most people have never heard of it.
Right. What I kind of find funny is, what if it's inspired all of this coding and decoding and all that, but it's really nothing. It's just a bunch of symbols this guy threw together, making it look like writing.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
The guy's got some kind of talent, though, because it just looks and feels real.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it's not anything. I really don't.
But it would be bad if it was. I mean.
Right.
I'm sure it's something pretty innocuous. I mean, it's the guy's recipe for all of his stuff for all of his patients. And it may have been a book for himself.
And it could have been. Maybe he made up this way of writing just for something to do, and it never caught hold. But he's the only one that knew what it was.
Now, hear me out. Maybe he was illiterate, but really brilliant, and developed his own language for his own use. It's not unprecedented.
No.
Twins do it, with verbally. So why couldn't somebody do that? Somebody who was smart enough to come up with their own alphabet, develop something like this and write it out. And it's unique to them because they never learned to read or write, and they taught themselves their own language.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
perfectly
possibility.
plausible.
I mean, yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
So, or it's aliens.
It's aliens.
It's aliens.
Or
Maybe
divinely
Bigfoot
inspired.
wrote
I don't know. Hey,
it.
there you go.
If Bigfoot wrote it, Bigfoot has really nice handwriting. He really
Right.
needs to be a teacher.
Well, he don't have anything else to do in the woods, you know, so he's got to.
Yeah.
He can take his time and be meticulous about it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Oh,
it makes sense to me. It's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot always shows up where he hears women's voices too. So yeah.
Maybe that's why all the women are in there.
Maybe so. Maybe he likes bathing with them. Although, from what I understand, it doesn't smell like he bathes at all.
Right. Well, maybe when people are smelling him, he just got out of the bath.
An herbal.
You know, you know, what if it's like a dog? You know, when you give him a bath, you know, you got that wet dog smell.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm buying it. I'm buying what you're selling.
And that's why the water turns green.
Yep. Yep. It's Bigfoot. I'm telling you, it's Bigfoot. No, but seriously, it's occurred to me several times because it looks to me like this is a very practiced hand. What if it was just one guy?
Yeah.
Maybe to his apprentice who he taught this, because he never learned to read and write everybody else's letters and he just made up his own.
Right. It would make sense.
I mean, language comes from someplace.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Uh-oh.
I don't know.
I lose Mark.
No, I'm here.
All right.
I'm here.
Never fails. Never fails. Towards the end of the show, we start having issues.
Just because everybody gets on the internet.
Yeah, maybe whoever's listening in on us, you know, just gets tired of our crap and starts messing with us.
It was probably my wife then. I'd get tired of my crap too. Yeah.
My wife doesn't. I'm sure. So
yeah, they gotta love it, or they would have got rid of us a long time ago.
This is true. Anyway, man, I think I'm good. I think we've had a good conversation, fun conversation.
I really think anybody who has found this interesting, this is one of those things you really can't go wrong on because nobody has any clue.
Right.
You can say whatever you want, come up with whatever theories you want, and who knows, you might be right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because you don't know. And I know Mark and I have had the conversation several times, maybe not on here, but I know we have had the conversation, you know, especially with like Jess, Pam, and all that. We do these shows because we're curious. And most of the things that we look up, we'll never find a true answer for it because it'll open the door for so many more questions.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
And the Voynich Manuscript fits perfectly in that.
You can
speculate all day.
Decades and never run out.
Right.
And we haven't. Nobody has. Since 1912, since this reappeared on the market, it's driven everybody absolutely batshit crazy.
Right. I mean, there's people that have spent most of their adult lives
and their fortune.
And their fortunes, yeah.
So, and it's made and broken people's reputations.
Yep.
And nobody knows what it says.
Right. You know, I mean, I guess it's a blessing and a curse. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be cool to be able to go look at it. I really do. And just to see it in
I'd love to rub my fingers just down the spine of the
right.
book.
I think it'd be cool.
It would be. It would be. I mean, it's cool just looking at the pictures of the pages.
Yep. Yep. It's one of those things you could look through and just look through. And I'm willing to bet just from the little bits I've seen online, you could find something new all the time in there.
Every
something
time you
different,
open it up.
Some little intricate detail. So I think it'd be cool to have one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get at least a paperback copy just to thumb through. Hardback's $33.
Oh, that's not bad.
No. But yeah, it is absolutely amazing. I don't care who you are. It just really fires the imagination.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So, all right. I think I'm good on it. I mean, like I said, we could talk about this for days and I still have something to say, but.
Right. I think it'd be cooler to do a show with it in our hands. If we could show every page and share every page and all that, and
it would,
and do a whole show like that. I think that'd be really cool.
I wouldn't mind revisiting it someday. And the next time somebody comes up with a new theory, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it. With that being said, folks, thanks again for listening. We truly appreciate your time. We appreciate the chat. Don't forget, here a week from this coming Saturday, the 24th, is the Bordertown Paracon over in Caney, Kansas, at the community building there.
At the rec center,
several people on the panel. A lot of paranormal investigators. We got a medium tarot reader, if I remember right. Is that correct?
Yeah, we got vendors.
Vendors coming in. You can meet Mark and I. You can meet the Bordertown Paranormal folks. You guys have heard Pam and Jess, and obviously Mark. All good people.
I've seen the prize packages. You need to come.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah.
I mean, if you live in the local area, it's worth coming down and putting your name in.
We have donated a couple T-shirts for giveaway this year. I designed a logo for the Paracon, incorporated both our logo and the Bordertown Paranormal Guys logo, incorporated that for a T-shirt. So I guess you could say they're kind of limited edition.
Yeah.
We'll be wearing them, but we'll also be giving 2 away. So if you want to come over and get a free chance at a T-shirt, you just go in, no purchase necessary. You just go in, sign up, put your name in a hat, and at the end of the Paracon, they have a drawing. You
must be present.
Bag. You got to be present to be there. You get a goodie bag full of stuff. You get a T-shirt. I don't know what all is being given away, Mark, but I do know they had some pretty cool giveaways last year.
There's some ghost hunting equipment, books. It's a nice price package.
Cool.
It really is, especially since there's no cost at the door. It's absolutely free to the public. At least this last year. If it continues to grow, we may have to change that because it costs quite a bit of money to put it on. So, but I do invite everybody to come out, meet everybody, enjoy the panels. There's going to be a live demonstration on how ghost hunting equipment it should be used. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And I want to throw in, we'll have a tip jar at our table. For $1 tip, we'll hum a tune. For a $5 tip, we'll sing a tune.
For $10, I'll stop. It's not that I can't sing, it's that I really shouldn't.
With that being said, folks, thank you so much for listening. We enjoy doing the show. We just enjoy sharing our ideas, and we love hearing from you. So by all means, email us, whatiftomorrowpc@gmail.com. share your spooky stories, share personal experiences. I will be putting something up on Facebook soon. Also keep a look. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, come over and join us.
Yeah.
It's free to join. I mean, just come over and hang out. Feel free to share stuff. I think I've only ever banned one person. That's because all they were doing was spamming stuff. And that's our other rule is no spam. Don't spam us a bunch of crap to try to get us to buy something because it's not going to happen. I will boot you for that. Other than that, it's fair game. I mean, it's definitely.
We haven't had any problems with people fighting.
Absolutely
anything like
not.
That. So
no,
we're all pretty open-minded folks.
Yep. So, but folks, again, we thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.
Y'all have a good night.